It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
All right, let's get into it. Pierre, are you ready?
Let's do it. So it's a pleasure to be back in Berlin. We are one of the winners of the GreenTech Award startup in 2019. And if we can get the presentation, I'll tell you a little bit about what we've been up to. So it's been kind of like a bit of history with the GreenTech Festival, and it's really a powerful organization and recognition of all the good stuff that are happening in this space. As I said, like really honored to have won this award a few years back. So at Notpla, we're on a mission to eliminate plastic packaging. Plastic is a very performant material, but it has this tendency of never going away ever. It's indestructible. So our solution was to get inspired by fruits and vegetables. And if we could create something that really is copying nature, we would never create forever waste. So we came up with this first product, the Oho Bubble, which was this like fruit-like container for a little dose of water that we came up with in our kitchen, being inspired by the way fake caviar is used for like a few decades for making a cheap alternative to the real kind of like fish eggs. And surprisingly, this technology is made using seaweed. And seaweed is this incredible resource that we kind of like discovered. Some seaweed species can grow up to 1 meter per day. It doesn't require fertilizer or fresh water. It's just incredible. And so we started to look into seaweed to create all sorts of different applications to help brands switch away from plastic into other types of alternatives. And the best thing is that seaweed is actually naturally biodegradable. So it means that if we fail to collect our waste, at the end of life, we'll never create a forever piece of waste, just like the peel of a fruit. So it's a bit of a journey for us. We've been kind of like initially backed by the internet. Like we did a crowdfunding campaign that like brought us some money from 900 different people around the world to get started. And we identified a few key moments of consumption where we could bring a solution. For example, races, running events where we've been able to replace bottles and cups. This is the London Marathon, so it's super exciting to see like the streets free from all of this plastic that typically ends up littered and consumed in just a few hours. And today we're really working with like some top brands to bring energy gels and energy drinks to the market without using plastic. But then we realized that there was a few other things that we could do with our seaweed. So especially for food service, takeaway containers actually are never just cardboard. There's a thin layer of plastic in there to make the cardboard resist the grease and moisture. So we realized that we could replace that thin layer of plastic with seaweed. And we could actually make those takeaway containers, and we could actually deliver a completely plastic-free experience. So it was one thing to make the prototypes, but then we worked with the rest of the industry to actually bring it to the full scale, to apply this solution in existing factories and retrofit this solution. And it's been exciting since we won the GreenTech kind of like award that we are now used in 10 countries. We've replaced 10 million single-use plastics across Europe. We're starting in the US. We've had a few other kind of like supporters, like Prince William. We won the Earthshot Prize as well. And what's exciting is that legislation is really coming in to back those types of innovations. In particular, in Europe, there's been a tax and a ban on certain types of single-use plastics. And for the first time, governments are really checking what is on the market. They're not just believing the manufacturers and taking their word for it. And so we've been kind of like recognized for the first time as plastic-free by the Dutch government. And what's kind of unbelievable is that we were the first, and currently we are the only solution they have found on the market to actually be plastic-free. Everyone else that they checked actually contained some plastic. All the ones that were claiming to be plastic-free, they were actually like full of plastic. So it shows the lack of incentive if we're not really talking transparently about what's on the market. So takeaway container is exciting, but we're also looking at a bunch of other applications. For example, flexible films for all sorts of different types of sachets. With seaweed, you can do things that you can't really do with plastic. So we can make soluble sachets for pasta, for kind of like instant drinks, and replace other types of soluble film that are made from petroleum, like for example for detergent pods. And we don't just use the gelatinous part of the seaweed, we can also use the fiber part of the seaweed. So we've started to make seaweed paper, seaweed cardboard, so that we can actually reduce pressure on fibers that come from trees. And more recently, we've been kind of like starting to work on more rigid applications like cutlery. So it's really early days for what we can do with seaweed instead of plastic. And we can retrofit the industry. We don't have to build new factories. We can actually work with the existing infrastructure so that everyone can be a part of this transformation. So we're really on a journey. Like we are kind of like growing fast, but still just a drop in the ocean. There's a team of 55 people in London that are working hard across chemistry, engineering, design, biz dev, and we are excited about what we can do next. Thanks.